Morgan Stanley is out with a new letter. They published this letter after the earnings call. And of course, these folks, Morgan Stanley, they've been consistent bulls for quite a while now. So has anything changed their mind? Quite a lot, actually. Yet they have some very bullish projections still in their projections for the stock value. In fact, their bull case for the next 12 months is almost in line with my $700 prediction for the year-end 2024. Well, let's dig into that letter and see what makes sense, and maybe one or two items where they need to do a bit more research. This is Randy Kirk, and this is Sunday morning. Tonight, you're going to want to watch the regular Sunday night program because guess what? We're going to be talking about the PCE. We're going to be talking about a lot of big earnings reports that are coming out this week. All of these things can definitely affect the overall market and definitely affect Tesla's stock. I do expect Tesla to have a pretty good week this week. We'll see, but I think we'll start to see the rebound. Might take till the middle or even the end of the week, but I think we'll start to see it moving back up, more or less moving with the macro, with the NASDAQ, which I also expect to be moving up. All right. Morgan Stanley was not really upset by the tone of the call. They didn't really make any mention of that at all. They merely referred to it as one of the most cautious that they have heard in years. For some reason, they thought that the macroeconomic caution was partially intended to reduce expectations for the Cybertruck. There's error number one. There was absolutely no nexus in those two pieces of caution. Totally unrelated. The caution on Cybertruck was only that it might take longer to fully ramp, longer to reach profits, and longer to reach positive cash flow than many investors and institutional folks might be hoping for, letting everybody know that this newer product might take 18 months to fully ramp, and therefore something less than that. Maybe it's 9 months, maybe it's a year before it gets to a level where it's going to be throwing off positive cash and not making a negative contribution to margins overall. So that was unrelated to the reality that Elon's worried about the overall economic conditions going into next year. They also tried to slap away thoughts that the Cybertruck could get to 500,000 units. Nobody knows at this point, but modeling 150,000 to 250,000 units for 2025 is probably smart. We'll all know within 6 months or so if this truck is going to be a really great seller or an absolutely amazing seller. And then I'm sure that Tesla will make adjustments as necessary. Of course, you probably think it's going to be an amazing seller. They also talked about Cybertruck becoming a sideline to the bigger picture. I don't know what they were trying to do with that. You see, they do get it that Tesla's big profit centers are going to be Optimus, Robotaxi, and the total car and truck business, only coming in third place for revenues and maybe tied to or close to the same as energy and even Dojo. So Cybertruck is only maybe 10 to 15% of the vehicle business, which will only be about 10% or less of the total pie. So we're talking about maybe 1 or 2% of the total dollars will be Cybertruck. Well, that means it will be a sideline. It will be one piece. But that'll be true for Model Y. That'll be true for Model 3. That will be true for go on down the line. As the company gets to be in the trillions of dollars of revenue, things that are only doing $100 billion a year will seem like small potatoes. So, however, that fact should in no way detract from the brand bump that they're going to get for Cybertruck this year and next year, as the truck is, even if the truck's only 80% as good as Elon Musk thinks it is, we're going to get an amazing bump in terms of brand recognition, people seeing it coming down the street, pictures that will be taken, PR that will be done. And we'll know in about 6 to 8 weeks if the Cybertruck is as good or better as Elon thinks it is. I'm wondering whether they will release a couple of Cybertrucks to some YouTubers this time, like they did with the Model 3 Plus. That's an interesting idea. Wonder if that'll happen. Be really fun to give it to some YouTuber who does off-roading, or some off-roader and a YouTuber to pal up and go really put it through its paces. Anyway, Morgan Stanley continued by noting that the main emphasis of Elon's tutorial on the economic situation was the Model Y ramp. This is true. And the potential to where they might have to keep margins low, even lowering prices more than they have in order to move all that metal. Their big mistake number 2 was underestimating factory capacity for 2024. They're not looking for big increases this next year. But as noted yesterday, we know that we can build 1.1 million vehicles in Shanghai, 600,000 in Fremont, 300,000 in each of Berlin and Austin, plus maybe 70 to 100,000 Cybertrucks next year. All of those numbers I just quoted you are basically where we are now in terms of capacity. Doesn't include any increases in capacity during the year. That adds up to 2.37, 2,370,000, which is a darn good increase from 1.8. I continue to maintain that they can even do more Model Ys and probably Model 3s if there's the market for them without having to kill the margins. I don't think that they'll try to go for 2.5 or 2.7 million next year if it means they have to really reduce margins a lot more. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm hearing when I listen to Elon talk. So 2.37 should be the floor on sales next year, assuming that there is enough market. And that might even be at improving margins, because the only reason I think they'll build 2.37 is if they see there's tons of market and therefore they'll get the margins. They are now competing with lower spec ICE cars. They're competing with cars that I don't want to sound elitist. They're competing with cars that I wouldn't buy. Okay. I mean, they're just not that, they're not cool enough. I mean, I like to be cool, right? Don't you? Anyway, maybe advertising would be the next test to see how much metal they can move. So Morgan Stanley did point to the big R&D spend and the accompanying color that this spend is primarily headed for 4680, Cybertruck, Dojo, and Optimus. It didn't seem to dawn on them that $1 billion a year in R&D on average for these 4 game changers isn't much money at all. It's shockingly small amounts of money. I thought they should have mentioned that. So Morgan Stanley lowered their base case to 380 from 400 based on a lower gap of just $2.41 for this year versus their previous expectations of $3.89. Now that's quite a revision. I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised on this one, because there's every reason to believe that quarter 4 will be a corker with 500,000 cars shipped and energy and services also improving. So they do offer a $550 bull case, but that seems to be derived from figuring out the present value on their 2030 expectations, which would include Dojo and robotaxi income from licensing of FSD and batteries, but nothing for Optimus. It also assumes only 7.5 million cars in 2030. What? And a shockingly low expectation for energy, which Elon has said he wants to get to 1 terawatt. And I don't know why anybody thinks that's not going to happen. Anyway, so we do have a major analytic team now, other than Kathy Wood, who has some pretty impressive expectations for Tesla, though not as big as Kathy, who believes it'll be 1,500 to 2,000 in 2027. And that doesn't include Optimus either. So if you didn't get a chance to see the 2 videos from yesterday, they were both well received by those who did. I will put cards up right now for both of those. One of those is on destroying the 6 new myths that have cropped up since the earnings. And I think you want to know what those myths are. I think you want to know how to overcome them. And then the one last night covered some major macroeconomic issues that are at the heart of what is likely to be what's going to be coming along in the next 6 months or so in the world economy and the U.S. economy. Anyway, tonight around 5 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time or so, I'll post the Monday morning show. You absolutely don't want to miss this one, as we are heading into this major week with lots of big boy earnings and the PCE print on Friday. So I'm hoping that we could get one person today. Is somebody going to join Patreon? All right, I'm going to make a deal. This is going to be, I've done this once before. It worked a little bit. Actually got a lot of people joining Patreon the last 2 weeks. But the last 2 days, not a single soul. So let's get you up on Patreon. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you one free audiobook. You can have 2 free if you want. Or you can have 1 free audiobook and the Cybertruck bottle opener. How's that? 1 and 1. Okay. If you join at the $10 level, not at the $5 level. If you join at the $5 level, you just get the 1 book. Now, if you're completely new to the channel, this is a bottle opener. It is a refrigerator magnet. It is 3 millimeter thick, stainless steel, really, really tough. Comes in a very cool magnetic box that makes it a great gift item. So, you know, it's got all kinds of people now buying them as gifts as a result of the fact that I have so many people that want to buy them as gifts, and they're putting in these larger orders. I do have it all down. I think I put it all down below. I'll have to double check and make sure that it's up to date. They're normally $25 a piece. You get 2 for $45. You get 3 for $60. Okay. You get 100 for $210, and you get 200 for $400. Gets you all the way down to $20 a piece. If you are out of the country, I need you to add another $20 to that for freight, whichever one of those ones you pick. And then if you are, and then please let me know camo or regular. And of course you can mix and match if you buy quantities, however you want to set that up. So is there anything else I have left for you tonight? I think I've said it all. I have enjoyed speaking with you yet again.
Click the link below to get your paperback, Kindle, or audiobook now.